Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Today, I want to talk to a special guest who's a board certified functional wellness coach and a licensed holistic practitioner. Now, as you guys know, I took the holistic path as well. So I'm so keen to find out exactly what she's done. She used integrative approach for her breast cancer. She was actually diagnosed at stage 3 and has answered a call to helping others on the journey, as well as having faith-based and restorative approach, which is great because sometimes we lose our faith, we lose the ability to understand that we have what it takes internally. I always talk about that, guys. I always say, go home, never in the mind, always in the home. She helps women with their breast cancer journey go from fear to flourishing, which is fantastic. And she lights up in bringing order and beauty out of chaos. Now, she lives out of Seattle. She's got 2 Australian shepherds, which I love those dogs. They're amazing. So having said all of that, I want to welcome to our podcast, Sheena McKinney. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just so keen to find out what your approach was, because most of my listeners and my viewers know that I did take the holistic approach in my journey, which took me to Peru to work with shaman and plant medicine, as well as to Bali to do ancient Ayurveda medicine and things like that. So just tell us tell us about your story.
Okay. I've actually been interested in natural and holistic health for as long as I can remember. Even as a high schooler, which I'll tell my age a little bit by saying that was in the mid 1980s, and always just have been really interested in eating and living in a clean home, like low toxins and eating clean and all that. So at the end of 2018, I got a breast cancer diagnosis, as you mentioned. I was kind of surprised, and as all of us who get that diagnosis and hear those words, we ask why, and that's a big question, and there's a lot of answers to it. I also think not only do we need to look at maybe physical reasons why and try to unearth the causes and things that went into it, but even a deeper why. What I am a little bit unique, I think, in that I think there is a purpose in it. I don't think it's random. I believe God allows it, and he's also there to walk us through it. So again, prior to my diagnosis, I probably would have never considered conventional treatment, chemo, radiation, surgery. In fact, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, that I was sitting across from my sister-in-law who's struggling herself with stage 4 breast cancer. And I said, and this is before my diagnosis. I said, if I got breast cancer, I would just fast. And while I think fasting is great, and that is one of the things that I did do and think is a great thing to do, it was a little naive to think that alone, would be something that I could do. And so, like you, I used an integrative approach. Every step of the way, and then what I encourage women who get the diagnosis to do is research, learn, advocate for yourself, realize that you have a choice. It is your choice, your journey, your body, and you can and should trust your gut. One of the things I learned through my journey is the importance of listening to your gut. I would have said I wasn't good at that, and I've had to learn to get better at that. And I personally think, because of my faith that God uses your gut. We also just have that internal compass, and it points to the importance of having a team of people in your life, the people that are your caretakers, your doctors, so on and so forth. I was lucky in that, in addition to working with the conventional oncologist, which I was actually required to do, in order to meet with an integrative naturopathic oncologist, it was required that I be under the care of a conventional one. So I chose to very much, the whole process, do absolutely everything I could to support my body through each thing. And I never would have thought that I would have done those things. Like I said, I did having a single mastectomy. I did do chemo and radiation, and I almost surprised myself when I say it out loud, because again, prior to this, I never would have thought I did. In my case, my cancer was lobular, which is it's described as being sneaky. I also have dense tissue, which is one of the reasons why it was difficult to find and to discover. But I had been eating really clean and really well for the couple years leading up to my breast cancer. So again, when I first got diagnosed, like, why would this happen? I've been eating so clean for like 2 years. I've lost 50 pounds, but it was those 50 pounds I lost that enabled them to actually see the cancer. And in retrospect, it was a provision, I think, by God, that I did eat so well for those 2 years, because I had a health bank going into my treatment. I was able, with the treatment that I got and the advice I got from my naturopathic oncologist, to go through those things. I didn't have nausea. I didn't have fatigue. I didn't lose my hair. And I don't say that to make anybody feel bad or mad, because I know those things are super difficult to go through, and a lot of people do. But I had tools and I had a team in place to help me navigate that, to do the things that were going to support my body, and the things that I could do after I was done to cleanse and detoxify. And one of the things that I try to encourage people to remember is to not be dogmatic. I'm all alternative or all conventional. Quite often it is a combination of things that we need to use. And that's, again, where your gut and your God, or whatever it is that you use as your guiding force in your life, can help you navigate that. It's also one of the reasons why I'm a cancer coach now, because it's really helpful to have someone who's been there and who's done the research to help guide you, because it's overwhelming. There are many choices, there's conflicting information, there's lots of science, but even the science contradicts itself. So it can be challenging to walk through all that.
Absolutely. And I agree because of, like you just said, there's so much out there that you want to make sure that the treatment you're doing, you're the one who makes the final decision. Yes. Regardless what it is. And I love the way you said, trust your gut feeling, because even I am on the same page as you, because, at first, obviously being diagnosed with breast cancer, you go through the, what did this just happen? Da, 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 da. And then you go through there's a reason. I get it. And I do say to most people, or everyone really, again, this is my journey. Right. I say, was I surprised I got breast cancer? Yeah. Was I surprised I got breast cancer? No. Because for me, it was a lesson. I had to stand up and I had to take that lesson. Yeah. There was something behind it. And it was, like you said, it was Great Spirit just rocking my boat, saying you're not listening. And prior to that, I had so much stress in my life. I was resenting my husband because he managed to break through that, that sort of form what we create ourselves in, and, work, go home, work, go home sort of thing. And he broke through that mold, and I was resenting him, but it was only because I didn't have the courage to step up and do it myself. So yeah, I definitely believe that. But just going back to it, so you did have you had a single mastectomy, is that right? And then you had to, then you had to do chemo.
Yeah, and like I said, every step of the way, I didn't want to do any of those things, but like I said, I used my gut and I decided to do it, and I feel like, again, there's a purpose so that I can help people, through those things. I also did, as I said, everything I could to support my body with good food. I fasted during my chemo window, which was a weekly injection. Every single day I had to take 2 pills, and I literally took those pills, and I told my body that this is for your good and it's temporary. Please don't hurt the stuff that doesn't need to be hurt, but please kill the cancer. I said that every day, and I said it in the name of Jesus. So
yeah, beautiful.
And when I did radiation, I visualized and I pictured the entire time, this is for my good. This is to help me. I didn't I know a lot of people find it super scary and super, like, they just hate it. And I really feel like you have to work with your body, talk to your body. Your body listens. And we need to tell ourselves to embrace the things that we're having to do, because I think that, again, our body listens to us and we need to work with it. So I, like I said, visualized, prayed, and embraced it as much as I could during all those treatments.
Yeah, and I think that's really good too, because seeing it, like talking to people, it's like, oh, I didn't love my cancer, and I thought I didn't love my cancer, but I gave my cancer so much love that it was like, oh my God, I can't handle this much. I got to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's how I brought it. I was like, you know what? I gave myself so much love. I would stand in front of the mirror, and now I could do it naturally, but in the beginning, it's very hard, standing in front of the mirror, tell yourself how much you love yourself. Like, truly, I've got your back.
Yes.
I've got your back, Grace. Nothing's going to happen to you. You know what I mean? So I kept loving my body. I kept loving what I was going through, because I knew that although, like you said, it's scary, it's absolutely scary, there was going, like everything ends. Whatever begins ends. So I thought, I'm not looking at it as the end. This too shall pass. This too shall pass.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting because although I practice more Buddhist than Catholic religion, although I say that, the story, the footprints.
Yes.
I have that.
Yeah.
And that is what got me through. I've had that story since I was in 6th grade, which probably I was like 12 years old. So, and I'm 50 now. So I always look at that. And I knew that no matter what happened, I was being guided.
Yes.
I was being guided. I was never alone. I never, like yourself, you felt it. When I would go and do these tests and things like that, my mother passed away of breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, no, let me say that again. My mother passed away with either cervical or uterus cancer, but had breast cancer as a secondary.
Right.
So I knew that, like yourself, when you shared that you lost all the weight, and it was like that was a journey to get you to find, hey, it was that knock on the door. Hey, Sheena, we can see something. Hey, Sheena. So that was exactly what happened with me. Like, when it happened and I got diagnosed, because we were going regular tests every year because of Mum.
Yeah.
When it happened, I knew that my mum was behind it, because my mum wanted to get this out. She would have been like, oh, you are finding this and you're going to take this out of my daughter. Because one thing my mother did until her dying day was make sure none of us got it. So for her, it was like, I could just imagine my mum saying like, oh, no. We need to let her know. We need to inform her there's something going on. So I never felt alone. I felt I had great spirit beside me. I had Mum beside me. I had, like you said, let's go, let's do this. Yes, I had my moments, and I'm sure you did too, where you get a bit fearful, but you have to have faith. And speaking about faith, it doesn't matter what faith you or what religion you follow. Faith is in every religion, but faith is also what to have going through these moments, because if you don't have faith, you don't have much to hold on to grasp. So what's your concept? What's your share on on faith?
I think it is a daily, almost moment to moment walk. And as you said, you didn't feel alone. And I think that, some people, when it comes to their faith, their cancer journey will be a defining moment. They may be angry at God either before or maybe because of cancer. They may feel like God's disappointed them. When you face your mortality, it does cause you to reevaluate a lot of things. And most people, it increases their faith. And I do love the fact, I feel like when you seek God and you seek faith, He will show up. And, I feel like that journey He has for us is It's unique to each person. So it's really easy to compare, but we just need to not compare my journey to your journey to somebody else's journey, and the path to healing won't be the same. It is. I see a lot of women in Facebook groups and breast cancer groups looking for someone that has just the same diagnosis, maybe the same age or the same this, and then they just want to do that. And the truth is, there's just so many potential causes or reasons a person might have cancer that it's not just one thing. It's going to be a combination, and there's a lot of soul searching and looking at your health and all different aspects. I think no matter what modality or path you take to healing, one of the reasons I became a health coach is to help people with the basics. If you have a modality or a plan in place, but you don't have the basics, meaning your food and your sleep and your gut and your emotional, spiritual health, moving, having fun, some of those basic things, it's going to be very difficult for a healing path to happen for you, because it's important to have those things dialed in. And now most of us know what to do and that we should do those things, but a lot of times we don't. And that's why I think it's good to have people in your corner who can encourage you, keep you accountable, give you ideas, help you navigate that. It's just not something I think we need to walk alone. And so I think, again, our journeys are different. They're unique. But they're also not a straight line. I mean, I'm assuming you went through this too. We think it's going to be from A to B, but it's not. Correct. We're going to be all over the place. We're going to try this and try that and hear about this herb and that lotion and this oil and this tea and this thing, this IV that has this, in it. And we can't practically try them all, and it wouldn't even be healthful to try them all. That's why, again, listening to your gut, having a good team, and or a coach to help you navigate that is, so important.
Absolutely. And I agree, because, it's like where, I like the way that you say that, because it's not just one-sided, it's so many different things. And if there's a blockage, when I talk blockages, people think, oh no, I was fine. I was using, my bowel's normal. I'm not talking about those blockages. I'm talking about blockages in your mind, blockages in your heart, in your soul, in your body. Yeah. And I always say to people, you have to go in there and you have to do a good clean out. And also when I speak about detoxing, a lot of people exactly think that, you went and detoxed your body. Yes. However, that, especially the ancient Ayurveda that I did in Bali, it's an Indian, which a lot of people actually still live by eating those foods. It wasn't just there to detox my body, although I had a lot of stuff that I needed to get rid of. But my doctor wasn't there about my body. He was there to detox me. And there was times where when I say to people I was purging, people think, you were vomiting. No. I was crying. I was letting so much emotion out. It was stuff that was suppressed that I had to get it out. So while my body was healing, I had to heal this.
Yes.
I had to heal this, because this was talking that way. And here is home. And this wanted to go forward, and this kept pulling me back, saying, no, this isn't going to work. You're going to die from this. Nothing's going to work for you. But this home kept saying, Grace, you've got this. So trying to work, and I'm sure you had to do the same. So it's not just a matter of, okay, like you said, you're putting things in your body, but at the same time, you're asking your body, respect what I'm putting in it. Don't make it harmful for me. Because why? Because you're connecting.
Exactly.
You're connecting. A lot of people don't. And like you said, I got told, I think the best one that I got told was roast red beans. And then what you do is you put them in water, and then you drink the water of the red beans, and that's supposed to heal everything. And I'm like, just the concept of that is just, and like you said, that everyone's looking. And I always say that cancer from woman to woman is like your own fingerprints.
Yes, very much.
It's, yeah. Yeah, because like I said, I could go, oh, did you have stage 3? Oh, yeah, I had stage. I mean, I didn't, but I could say, oh, yeah, I had stage 3 as well. Was it the left breast? Yeah, me too. Were you 45? Yeah, me too. That's where it stops.
Exactly.
That's where it ends.
Yes, I agree. It's so individual. And I agree so much that the mind, body, spirit is so connected. In fact, the longer I go and the more I talk to people, the more I realize how much that the mind and the spirit are crucial. In fact, there's people that do everything right physically and go to great lengths, but they don't sometimes get well because they have those blockages. They've got some serious things that they haven't dealt with: anger, bitterness,
Yep.
Lack of forgiveness,
Fear, resentment.
Yes, and it's so crucial to deal with those. It's not easy, but it's so important. Another thing I think that really helps with how bio-individual we are, you mentioned that you did some tests and scans and things like that. I'm a big fan of, one, like I said, doing everything as holistically as possible. At the same time, there are more and more tests out there that sadly sometimes you have to pay out of pocket for, and it can get expensive. But there are things that we can do, blood tests and urine tests and saliva tests and things that can give us some clues and ideas about our health now, and some things that are going to be tendencies, maybe things that are genetic. But I don't think our genetics are our destiny. They're just a blueprint. So one of the things that I think can be fascinating, we can learn some things and get clues from those to help us to figure out how to be healthy. So I like the idea of test, assess, don't guess.
Yes.
I think it's
yes, that's important.
Yeah.
And I love how you said it's seriously, you're speaking my language. I love how you said it's not your blueprint. You can change your blueprint, people.
Yes.
Like, listen to that. Like, honest, I'm getting goosebumps because it is so true. A lot of people feel this is it. They just stay in that. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's your blueprint. Change it. It's not your, like you said, it's not that, oh, okay, well, it happened to them, so it's going to happen to me. No. And I always say, I had Western medicine here right next to me. I did the PT scans. I did the operation. I did the, the test, the blood test. I did all the mammograms, the ultrasounds, the MRIs, you name it. And then I would walk in the doctor going, yeah, and like you said before, be aware and understand and ask questions.
Yes.
And ask lots of questions.
Yes.
Don't take it as one thing that someone told me, and I've mentioned it before on my podcast, but I'll mention it again, is he said to me, Grace, don't ever base your decision on fear.
Yes.
And I went through that journey because he was part of even though he was actually in South America at the time, I still had him part of my dream team. I created a dream team around me of people that I trusted, my own people.
That's good.
Which is great because what I did is we basically sat down and we spoke about breast cancer and my diagnosis, like we all had it. What's the best things to tackle? What's the best things to try? Try this, doesn't work, great, next. Try this, doesn't work, great, next. And he said those words to me. So I went into my journey saying, don't base it on fear. Right. And it's not that they want to, but I hear a lot of doctors tell patients, you must today, if not, and guess what? You don't need to go today. You have time.
Yes.
But doctors put that fear into you, like you said, even that, like, for you to see a holistic practitioner, you had to go through, that route just so you can go and do what you wanted to do.
Right.
And I think, why? Like, I remember telling my surgeon, I'm going to try CBD oil. And she said, well, I'm going to find you on the side of the road, high as a kite. And I thought, oh, honey, I need to educate you.
Yeah.
So because I'm personally, and I'm not discriminating. I personally don't take any drugs, and I'm not discriminating here. I'm not, but I don't take drugs. So I'm like, I know me. You're gonna. If I knew that CBD oil has got me high as a kite on the side of the road, well, guess where that's going? In the bin. I'm not about escaping. I'm about going forward. I'm going through the storm here. So work with me. And she did. But I know there's a lot of people who are afraid to tell their doctors, their oncologists, their GP that they're taking a holistic approach, because it's that whole, well, what do you think? You're going to sit out in the sun and it's going to cure you. That's not what we're saying.
No.
And holistic, the word holistic in a way, unfortunately, has been bastardized. And what I mean by that is they put holistic on anything. And it's like, no. Holistic is a great range of things. Don't ever think that it's one thing. Like holistic is spiritual, holistic is psychological, holistic is physical. It's all of these things, so it's important to share that with people. And I want you to continue, but honestly, I just wanted to say that when the words are coming out of your mouth, I'm like, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
because I believe in it so much, because it's such, like you said, it's such an important part of your journey.
It is. And again, we tend to polarize and think, oh, it has to be one or the other. We can take the best of both worlds. We can get a scan, and then there are things that you can take and do to kind of detox from any chemicals that had to be involved in that scan. You can, support your body, and you can work with the best of both things. And it's just important for us to stay open, to stay humble, to not polarize, not to judge, and again, trust our gut and the team we have in place, as we've both said before.
Well, it's like you said as well, and I'll ask you if you don't mind sharing. Like, you went through your chemo. I'm sure you were, because I know someone who's stage 4 who went through chemo and put hemp seed on everything, pretty much anything and everything. She used hemp seed, which really helped her body sort of nurture itself. You know what I mean? That was her path. That's what she decided. So what did you do? What would you have taken or drank or done through that journey to help you?
So with chemo, the biggest single thing for sure was fasting. So my naturopathic oncologist encouraged me to fast from basically the night before and 2 injections till 48 hours, or till the day after. It was, I think altogether it was about 48 hours. So a little before and a little after. The idea being, well, there's lots of ideas behind it, and there's actually good studies on it, but it makes the chemo more effective. And those cells are hungry, and when you deprive them of food and especially sugar, they're going to glom onto and be more, the chemo is going to be more effective. Also, I didn't have any nausea, fatigue, and I kept all my hair. And I think that was very, I think most of that I can attribute to fasting during what's called my chemo window. That was huge. And, and I ate really clean. I kept my sugar intake really low. My naturopathic oncologist had a handful of supplements. She had me on a certain form of B6 that helps with neuropathy. Again, another example of supporting yourself through it. Now, people might go, oh, I'm going to go buy some B6. No, maybe not. There's 7 different categories of chemos. They all have different mechanisms of working. And there are things that are going to counteract and be contraindicated for you. So it has to be really done individually based on your scenario. I did, other than that, it was certain supplements, it was fasting. And like I said, my mindset, I embraced the chemo and what was going in. I prayed, I visualized that it was for my good and not for my harm, that it was temporary, that we would get through that. And then after I was done with it, I did a lot of things to try to really cleanse and rebuild my body. And, I finished chemo at the end of 2019 and in the middle of October. Just recently, like maybe less than a month ago, I finally have my white blood cell count in the normal level, but not just barely. So chemo is, as we all know, it is brutal. It knocks you down. It is
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's sometimes it is needed. If, when you mentioned fear before, not making a decision in fear, I'm normal. I've thought before, geez, maybe I should have, not had the surgery. Maybe I shouldn't have done chemo. Maybe I shouldn't. But to go back to your comment about fear, I like the saying, and it's not my own, but it's, don't dig up in fear what you planted in faith. When you make a decision, you have to live with the consequences and be okay with that. And that's why when you trust your gut, as we have said a bunch of times, when and if you second guess it later, you can remind yourself that you followed your gut. You did the best that you could do for them. And our bodies are super amazing. Our bodies are trying to heal. Our bodies have an amazing capacity and they have a lot of resilience. And if anyone's listening feeling, gosh, I'm just going to tear my body down, you may and you will if you do end up having to take the path of doing some of these things like radiation and chemo. But you can rebuild, you can cleanse, you can detox, you can get your health and vibration, your vitality back. It's possible. And again, you may need help. That's why having your dream team, like you say, or others in your life that can really support you is really important. Because some, especially if you really did have a journey that was really brutally difficult physically, it may and will it'll take time before you're feeling good again. But that's where I go back again to the basics, eating really clean food, having that mindset, remembering to have fun and moving your body and making sure your gut health is good and making sure your sleep is good. Such important basics. Those things all really are really powerful for getting us back to health.
Absolutely. I agree. Because it was like someone I just recently, I interviewed, and she's a marathon announcer. And she's very fit. So she's not just a marathon announcer, but she's very fit and everything. And she went through an extremely hard chemo rounds that she was actually jumping on planes from state to state to state to actually announce marathons. But her doctor said, had you not had the prior condition, you'd be bedridden. Wow. And I think that is so true because, like you said, maybe, and this is my belief, maybe while you're going through that, maybe the body needs to get rid of the old you. So it's depleting it. So then you can build it up with the new you.
Yeah.
But of course, the mindset is the one that holds, that's the one that you have to make sure it's working with your soul, with your spirit, knowing that you're making the right decision. And I love that one about fear, because it's so true. Because my husband said to me, Grace, you do what you want to do and don't ever think you made the wrong decision. It's never a wrong decision. Right. Even if everyone's against it, it's never a wrong decision. And I think that's extremely important. And like you said, you're eating healthy. I interviewed someone else that she was obviously getting very nauseous in her chemo, and her doctor said to her husband, oh, just pretend that she's like, treat her like she's pregnant and give her the foods that she wants while she's pregnant. That could be good, but at the same time, pregnant women get to eat crazy foods that I've never been pregnant, so I don't know, but I hear, and you sort of go, well, is that going to actually be good? I guess at the same time, you're putting food into your body because your body doesn't want to take anything. But like you said, if you approach it differently, you say to yourself, I'm going to look at this as not this chemo that's in here that's going to kill everything inside. I'm going to look at it as in, okay, you know what, chemo, you're in here. You're here to help me get through this. You're here to get rid of what's not good for me, what's not serving me anymore.
Right.
And I think that's a beautiful approach as well, because I even did that many times. It's okay, Grace. You're going to go through this because you're going to get better on the other side. It's okay. Give it love. Give it love. And I think that's important. So did you do so here we are now, you've also done radiation, I believe you said?
Yes, so I did 6 weeks, or excuse me, I did 12 weeks of chemo, and then I did 6 weeks of radiation, and it was Monday through Friday for 6 weeks straight. And then I was supposed to do 12 weeks of chemo immediately after, but even though I did absolutely everything I was told to do on radiation, I got really, really bad burns. It was pretty brutal, actually. But again, there's healing. It does get better. And because my burns were so bad, even though, like I said, I followed all the rules, did all the lotions and everything I was suggested, I took a small break because it just needed to heal. When in fact, I was into the oncologist to get started on chemo again, and she looked at it, my burns, says, let's give you a break and heal up some more. So I did another 12 weeks. So it was like a chemo sandwich, 12 weeks chemo, 6 weeks radiation, and then another 12 weeks of chemo.
Wow. So you've done this path, you've done the Western medicine path. You're now able to go and see your holistic oncologist, I believe you said it was.
It's a naturopathic oncologist, yeah.
Okay. So what did the naturopath have you on that side of the journey for you to learn or to do?
After the treatment?
Yes.
So one of the things was detoxing, because those things are very toxic. And then another was we did an extensive blood test from Genova Diagnostics called Primaval. And basically we're looking for nutritional deficiencies because, again, those treatments, they knock you down. So we tested to see if I had any heavy metals. We tested to see if I was low on key nutrients. And fortunately, I didn't have the heavy metals, but I was low on B12 and I was low on B6 and magnesium and manganese, just because, those things get kind of knocked down. So again, food is super important, and again, stress and sleep and all that, but some specific supplements just to help me boost up. And then this wasn't her suggestion, but it was my choice just based on my research. I got a hormone test called the Dutch test. I'm assuming you're familiar with it. And this is one path of the conventional protocol here, at least in the United States, is to go on hormone pills, estrogen blocking, either aromatase or the SERMs. And I have never felt a peace about those. And again, like I know you've said, this is to say as a disclaimer, this was my journey, and I don't encourage people to do what I do. I did not ever feel a peace about taking those drugs. They want you to take them for 5 years or 10 years. There's the side effects can be debilitating. I just never, ever felt a peace about it. I did try it briefly, and it didn't feel good in my gut. I found that it affected my mood to a point where it wasn't livable. I know a lot of people have lots of pain and lots of other side effects. So this all goes to show, as you make decisions on all the different things that are offered for you, it's still your choice. You still advocate for yourself. You still educate yourself, and do what you think is best. I've tried also and I encourage other people, be open. I've said to my oncologist, the conventional one, she's not thrilled about the fact that I'm not taking these estrogen blocking pills. And I said, I meant this. I'm not going to say no forever. I'm not going to say I won't. Right now, I don't plan to do that. And she'll still support me. She'll still see me. That's just, that for me is, I feel like I've addressed those in other ways. There's other ways nutrition and supplements and things to address that. And that is the one kind of part of the suggested protocol that I have chosen not to do. And I feel good about it. I have to live with that. There's people who get 5 or 10 years down the road, they have a recurrence. Whether or not I took those pills or not, it could still happen. I could get down the road and have a recurrence and I'm like, oh, shoot, I should have taken those pills. Or I could get down the road and have a recurrence and go, shoot, why did I take those pills?
Yeah.
No, so I do lots of things when I work with clients and for my own self to prevent recurrence, to make my body inhospitable to cancer, to make the terrain of my body where it's not, where cancer doesn't want to and can't be, and to boost my immune system, make sure my mitochondria are working. Those are your best team members.
Defense,
your body is your immune system. It's so
absolutely,
so
absolutely. I agree. And we have. I was advised to get tamoxifen.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got diagnosed, and she wanted me to go see the radiologist, and when I went to see the radiologist, I asked 1,000,001 questions, and the cons were higher than the pros in my case.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. I went and saw the oncologist, and I remember her putting my numbers in a little chart. And in 5 years, if I had taken tamoxifen, because one thing that my sisters advised me is don't take tamoxifen because that's what gave mum the secondary cancer. So when I walked in there, I didn't take just my sister's advice. I thought, well, I've got to ask these questions. So I asked and I said, look, what are the pros and cons? Now, had I taken tamoxifen in 5 years, it increased my chances. This was the crazy part. In 5 years, it increased my livelihood by 0.8, something like that. But it increased my secondary cancer by 1.0. And I thought, oh, that's higher. Then she gave me the suggestion, well, why don't you do, and I'm still going through my cycles, my periods and things. And she said, well, why don't you do a hysterectomy? Then you don't have to take the tamoxifen. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. Now you're putting me into induced medical menopause. What's that going? Yeah. And I said, well, what's that going to create? And she said, well, if that's the case, the chances, which now my surgeon speaks about, high. And I never knew that there was that, that thing. While you've got your period, the chances of breast cancer is high. Without your period, the chances of heart failure is high in women. And I thought, oh, hang on a minute. So again, the cons were crawling up. Yeah. And I said, I'm not going to take it. And like you said, I never said I'm not ever going to take it. But she was so upset with me that she actually told me to get out of her office because she had no time for me anymore. Wow. This was the oncologist. Wow. Yeah. So my surgeon knows that I'm not taking tamoxifen. Now, I just went for my yearly check. Well, I say yearly. It's not really yearly. It's every 6 months, but, and because they find one thing, they find another, and then they're going to do more tests and everything's sweet. And I just went in March, and she said to me the most beautiful words I could ever hear is, see you in 12 months. Now, like you said, I did not take the tamoxifen. That's my choice. I did my homework. I asked questions about me. I didn't ask questions about, what does this do to this lady over here? Can I speak to this lady? No. So like you said, God forbid, I will do everything I can so it doesn't come back.
Right.
But I'm not going to ever say I should have. No.
Right.
No. None of the decisions I did, none of the things that I did, I will never go back and say I made the wrong decision. No. I tried those decisions. Now, God forbid if it came back, all right. we're back at this, are we? Okay, what can we do? Shall we try the same thing? Can we try something else? I will never go back and say, damn it, I made the wrong decision. Because like you said, you don't know what it could have caused. In my case, God forbid it caused a secondary cancer. And then I go, why didn't I take him? Why did I take him? Why did I take it? It's, it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Right. And
it's a personal decision.
It is. And I think you and I are a little unique in our perspective. As I'm listening to other women, they're not in a place where they can be confident about their decisions. They're not able to listen to their gut. They don't have a divine source or a dream team to help them. And so, man, for everyone who's listening, make sure you get those things in place, because, as I said, you don't want to dig up in fear what you planted in faith. And you have to live with those decisions, each one of them. And generally speaking, if you follow your gut, you won't second guess them. It's if you second guess them, it's most likely because you didn't listen to your gut.
Or maybe you made a decision because someone else told you.
Yeah.
There's that. I know family love you and want the best for you. Like I said, my sister's sister-in-law who went through it, stage 4 breast cancer. When she knew of my journey, all right, I was stage 1, but when she knew of this journey I took, she was like, oh, you did that and you did that. And why did you do that? And why did you do this? And I'm like, you know what? We're totally different women, because she still loves to eat stress and anger, whereas I went, I have to get rid of that food. I can't have that. Yeah, of course, stress comes and visits one time. It's like that little donut on that. And I go, I don't know. I don't want you today, sort of thing. But she was I'm thinking, you're going through stage 4 and you're still resenting and anger for someone else. Let it go. But also that she looked at me like, you didn't do what your doctor said. No. I did what my doctor said. But I also told my doctor what I was going to do. And a lot of people go, I can't tell. I get it. Like my doctor telling me I'm going to see you on the side of the road, doped up or whatever. I get it. You need to educate it. But my surgeon, which I love her. I do. I adore her. And I think everyone knows that I adore my surgeon. But one time we had a chat and she said to me, Grace, she said 2 things I wanted to mention too, because she said the first thing she said is, Grace, a lot of people, I think a lot of women or scientists have to look into how the mindset has to work. And I thought, honey, where have you been? Of course it's the mindset, because she was saying there's women that go into her surgery and say, am I going to die? Am I going to die? And she's like, I don't know. You can walk out of here and get hit by something. I don't know. Things like that. But the other thing she mentioned, which was really profound, she said to me that women who I'm not sure now, I'm not quoting her because I can't remember exactly, but it's like they give some women who are highly stressed, like I'm talking very, very fearful, just before they go into an operation. She was saying if a woman goes into an operation and she's very fearful, she's so stressed, the cancer will spread while she's getting operated.
I believe it.
And I thought, wow, exactly. So what happens is she said now I can't remember, like I said, I might misquote her. And I think she does mention in the podcast that I interviewed her on. And she said what they do is they give women who get like blood pressure tablets, because what it does is it just mellows everything, makes you relaxed and everything to go in there like that. And I thought, people don't understand that, because like you said, when you don't have faith, and we go back to the word faith, when you don't have faith in yourself of making the right decision, you are going to go in there stressed.
Yeah.
You are going to go in there scared.
Yeah.
You are going to go in there second guessing yourself, and that's not what you need. You need to go in there with so much confidence. When I say so much confidence, of course, we're all fearful, we're scared, we don't know what's going to happen, right. Things like that. But you need to have some sort of confidence going in, saying, you know what, I'm going to be all right.
I agree.
I'm going to be all right.
I agree.
You know?
And there's some, some people listening to that might go, I get it, but I can't, or I don't know how. There's things as simple as breath techniques that can be powerful to help
Absolutely.
get out of that stress place.
Mm-hmm.
And again, having a dream team, having a cancer coach or, a loved one, sometimes you need to tap into that to get that support, because it's real. That fear and stress can be really real, but it is possible. I totally agree with you to go into it without it. There's a verse I like in the Bible about how the peace that passes understanding. It is possible to have that inner peace. It really is.
Absolutely. And it's hard to find, like you said, it is hard to, because I remember people saying to me, just be strong, Grace. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Yeah, I don't know if you got that. It's like, I would say to my husband, like when my husband, as I said, he was my, when I say my savior, when I first got diagnosed, I was ready to sign my life away. And he turned to me in Italian and he said, let's go home and think about this. And that's what saved me from having an auxiliary clearance on my arm, which could have caused more problems than anything. But he would say to me, he would say even, you need to have more faith, Grace. You need to have more faith. He knew, he felt it in his bones.
Wow.
He would say to me, I feel it in my bones. You are going to be all right. But I need you to believe that. And I used to go, how do you have faith? What does it mean? What does it mean? Because it's one thing to say it, but you got to feel it.
Yeah.
You got to feel it. You got to understand it for yourself. And I get it. People say, of course, I'm going to say to someone, man, you've got this. You've got so much courage. You've got so much strength. I'll say that because it's better than going, well, forget it. If you don't have courage and strength, man, you're a goner. I'm not going to say that to a person. But at least I'm going to be honest and say that. But then it's up to that person to go, do I feel that? Do I really feel it in my bones? In my core of who I am? Do I feel that? No, I don't. How do I do that? And like you said, which I'm going to come on to the next part, because now you're a wellness coach. Even that, if I came to you and said, Sheena, I'm struggling. I don't know how to find my own inner strength. I don't know how to find my courage or my faith. You will be someone that goes, oh, okay, I can give you some tools to help you with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
So let's talk about that. So were you always a wellness coach, or is it something, and a holistic practitioner, or was that like your message? By the way, this is what you're going to be doing in life because you went through this.
It was a calling, actually, that I got in 2020. I've always been interested in health and natural things, but it was in 2020 when did I already tell you the story about the day I got the text from my sister-in-law about radiation?
No,
Okay.
Tell us, please. Share that.
I have actually a full-time job, a great job, and it's just been my passion project and my side thing to coach women going through breast cancer. And it was over 20 years ago that I actually had determined my life purpose was to help people be whole, body, mind, and spirit. But I lost sight of that, and I thought, oh, I don't have the degrees, I don't have the education, I don't have, why would someone listen to me? And furthermore, people don't seem to want to change or make, different choices in their life anyway. And then 2020, with a worldwide pandemic, I started to, look at, and I said to God, you healed me. You brought me through this. You taught me so much. If you want me to do something with this, let me know. I'm willing. And so, that's, I think, an important lesson is being willing and being open and having that surrender.
Yeah.
There was a day when my sister-in-law, who's battling stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, she texted me asking me for some tips on radiation. And I jumped up and I grabbed some of the things I had on hand still, and I took pictures and I told her what to do and try this, and then send my brother over to my porch, because again, we're still social distancing, and I said, pick it up. And I went back to my desk, and I just thought, wow, what a contrast. The energy and excitement I had to help her was so extreme that I was like, I need to help people. So I started to, get all kinds of signs from universe / God, things like twice in one day, the word new beginnings, showed up. And then I had a cancer consultation with a really well-known cancer doctor. After we talked, she sent me an email, which I still have. It was, the gist of it was, Sheena, you know so much, you're so knowledgeable, you should be a nutrition consultant, and I know you could help a lot of people. And I was like, wow. And I started to believe again in this purpose that I identified a long time ago. So I went back to school, and that's when I got my board certification as a functional health coach. And that's kind of got that calling, and that kind of rebirth of my purpose happened in like the spring of 2020. Wow. So I'm just kind of new to helping people and trying to help and serve in whatever way I can. I'd like to help people learn how to get through it, but I'm also kind of focusing a lot on helping women now with their fear and helping to prevent recurrence, because it's a really big fear for a lot of people.
Absolutely. It's true, because a lot of people go, oh, they sit in that every year. I went through that myself the first 2 years that I had to keep going back. The first year especially, I had to go back after, I think, a year or something like that. But for 6 months, I had fear having me by the throat. Like it had me choked up in a corner that I wouldn't even book something the next day. Put it this way, I know Halloween is huge in America, but I'm a huge fan of Halloween, huge. And I always said, I'm going, and this is just my story I want to share, but, I always said, I want to make a Halloween party. I'm going to dress up as, I love Pennywise. Yep, I know. I'm a psycho, but I love Pennywise. But, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. That was 6 months away. And I'm like, no, I'm not booking nothing. I'm not getting nothing because I don't know. So I wouldn't even book the next day because especially when it was time to go and get my tests results and everything, so I was getting it done on Monday, and today's Friday here Saturday here in Australia. And I would say to people, oh, let's catch up for breakfast. And nope, because I don't know what's going to happen Monday. So I'm going to stop living because I don't know what's going to happen Monday. So I kept stopping myself from living until it got to the point where it had me so choked. I did an event with Tony Robbins, and he helps you release something. And it was part of that I released that fear, that I speak to fear like it's a person. And I actually said to fear, you need to pack your bags and you need to get out. You need to leave. I have no time for you. So I had to do it like that, and with such, conviction, not just, leave, right. just leave. I mean, I'm not going to go into the thing, but it was so full on that it took my husband's breath away when I did it, because he realized how much it was choking me. Wow. So do I have fear? Well, I'm a little bit jumpy every 5 minutes, but that's who I am. But I always say to people, do you want fear? You want to come and visit me? Visit me while I'm on a plane and the plane's going down and the pilot says, you know what, it's over. Come and visit me then, But other than that, don't come and visit me. Am I scared? Yes, because I'm human.
Exactly.
Do I live in it? No, I do not.
Yes, that's good.
Yes.
And
so I thought it was really important. It's like you said, it's really important for people like yourself to help women, because instead of saying that was the first couple of years, and I'm so disappointed in myself, and I'm not hitting, I'm not going to bring myself down, but I was disappointed that I lost that 6 months the first year. And I always say that. I lost 6 months. God forbid if this thing got worse and it came back and, I don't know, it just took me out, or something else took me out. What a waste of 6 months. But the thing is, now going forward, I do not say, I say it as in 3 years cancer free, but I'm not counting the days. For me, I'm living, because I could be 20 years cancer free and then get hit by a bus.
Right.
What are you going to know me as? Oh, Grace was 23 years cancer-free before she got... You're not going to remember me like that. So a lot of women, instead of looking... because again, it's The words. Its
Yes,
words are
words.
so, yes.
Yes, words and our thoughts and our beliefs, and they're so powerful. And we need to,
And the doctor's words.
yes, yeah. To answer, your question earlier about how I help, that's exactly what we work on is the mindset, the beliefs, really diving into those feelings and thoughts because they are changeable and they do affect how we live or not live. And those are super key things. And then, we work on the basics too. It's amazing how much better we can feel and how much more peace we can have when we've done those basics, moving and sleeping and pooping and eating well and all those things.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, and again, it goes back to, like you just said then, when you do what's the basic, and God forbid something happens, you know what? I did the best I could with what I have. And never ever underestimate yourself.
Yes. And remember, like you described your own journey, you had a period of 6 months of fear and you came through it. And so that is encouraging to other people to see other people's stories. So I love that you have this podcast where people can share their stories and bring insight and inspiration and encouragement because it is a journey. It's a process. It's a messy process. It's not easy, but again, when you're not walking it alone, you're trusting your gut, you're doing everything you can really honestly, truly feel empowered. You can have peace and you can have abundance.
And remember that. Remember that. Isn't it? I get it now. I'm not like a spiritual guru here. I know it all. I know nothing. I still know nothing, right? I'm learning. I'm a student in life, I'm a teacher when I need to be, but I'm a student in life. But one thing that we take advantage of is gratitude, is appreciation. And you forget those things because we live in a society that more is better, bigger is better. If I don't have that, big house, or if I don't have that great car, or if I don't have that perfect picket fence family or whatever, I'm a nothing. So I need to know. Sometimes you have it all and you're still, and I'm sure you would have had, come across anyone in your life that you sort of go, you've got it all and you're still miserable. You're still unhappy. It's because here, the greatest wisdom, the greatest knowledge, the greatest understanding. And if you are rich here.
Yes.
Not necessarily on the outside, but, and a lot of people forget that. So when life comes knocking on your door and says, hey, I'm going to give you this.
Right.
That's when you pull back, don't you? You realize, what am I? Who am I with the stuff around me? If I'm not here, it means nothing.
So true.
It means nothing.
So true.
And I find that, that's really important for people to understand how important it is to have faith.
Yes.
Again, you don't have to, I call it Great Spirit. You call it Jesus or God. I'm sure. Am I getting that correct?
Right. Yeah. Yes, I do.
Correct. Right. So, you know what I mean? We're not here saying you've got to believe in Great Spirit or you're going to believe in God. You can believe in whatever you call him or her. Have faith.
Yes.
Have faith. And like you said, my mentor says, your mess is your message. Yes. And I love the way you said you are now at service of others. We are at service of others. We've always been at service of others, but now we're on a platform. Yes. Does that make sense? Like you've always been at service.
And it comes from a place of gratitude because like you said, gratitude is so important. And it would be wrong of me not to share. It'd be wrong of me to not serve. I've been given and blessed with so much and learned a lot. And I just, I have that burning desire and passion to help others. And it would be a disservice to myself and others if I didn't try to bring some light and bring some faith and some hope and some love.
Yeah. And it's important. It's important because people need to see the other side. You know, don't just, again, it comes down to fear. It comes down to misunderstanding. It comes to misinformation. It comes to words that are told by your doctors. I'm not saying not to listen to your doctors, but listen to your doctors like you would listen to anyone else. Don't give your power away
Yes.
to your doctors.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know, now you also want to, you know, I've really enjoyed speaking to you today. But I want to talk about this free genetic report. You have a giveaway.
Yes, I have the one I told you about, and then another one that I didn't tell you about that I'm going to offer as well.
Yes.
As I mentioned earlier, I really am fascinated by genetics and mostly epigenetics, the lifestyle and things that we can do to affect and maximize our body's potential. And so one of the things that I am offering is if you already have your genetic testing done, and a lot of people these days have, and you feel comfortable sending that raw data to me, I have an encrypted email, so it's very safe. For those who feel comfortable and who have that raw data, I can upload it to an amazing program called Self Decode and give you some really amazing reports on all different, even like an overview of your health, but anything that comes up and lots of things related to even that can maybe inform you on what diet or exercise is best for your body and how well you're detoxifying and things like that. So that's one option. And then another thing that I'm just starting to get into that I'm new at, and so it would be almost a favor to me if someone wanted to help me practice, is I've recently been kind of introduced to this idea of reading people's faces. So this is a book called WTF, What the Face? And, there's a lot of people that look at faces and can tell there's personality traits and things that are potentially true of people by their face, but there's actually physiological things. And some of this is based in Chinese medicine. And anyway, if someone feels comfortable with that, I would need a close-up picture with no makeup. Not everyone's going to want to do that, but a close-up picture of your face without makeup, your kind of hair pulled back, and one from the side. And I could send back to you some notes like this may be a possible tendency, or you might want to look into this. So, for example, if a person has a line or a blemish or something in a certain area of the face, actually, here's a map. I don't know if you can see this. Here's kind of a map of the face.
Right.
There's some things that can be helpful. So, for example, if you have acne on your chin, then you might have an issue with hormones. If there's something if your eyelids are puffy, you might have a gallbladder that's, sluggish. So those are some examples. And I'm just getting into it, and it would be fun to practice. And if someone wanted to have that done, I'd be happy to do that. And, you'd have to think of it as for educational purposes, not diagnostic, of course, but just it's been pretty fascinating. I've seen a lot of interesting correlations. So if someone's interested, you can send me a message.
Absolutely.
Yeah, send me a message on my website or through Facebook. Just send me a direct message, and either one of those two things, I'd be happy to share.
Yeah, no, that's going back with the genetics report. You're saying so people know specifically what is that report specifically? Is that are we talking the report, a BRCA genetics that you get done, or what sort of a genetics are we talking about?
Well, if you've already had your test done, again, there's something called raw data that has all your genetic material. And to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if it includes BRCA1. I know that's the one that commonly people think of with breast cancer. But this is hundreds of thousands of genetic markers and things. But there's reports there's one that's kind of just an overview that kind of gives you an idea of, the areas that they call SNPs. There's, again, reports on like what exercise might be best for you. There's reports on anxiety, inflammation. There's reports specific to all different kinds of areas of health. And for the people that are interested, I could actually send them like, here's a whole laundry list. Like you could have all of these reports, or you could just have one. Or some people are like, oh, I want the acne one and the anxiety one and the inflammation one and the heart health one. There's so many. But I'd be happy to send those. I have access to a platform that can produce those. They're beautiful. You get it like just a PDF, and it has some practical, scientific based suggestions and ideas that how you could improve or maximize your body based on your genetics. Again, as we said before, it's not a life sentence that you have XYZ, genetic material. We can all affect and improve our body's ability, but it can be really helpful to know. Here's one example I know about my genetics. There's and I couldn't tell you the exact gene, but I learned from mine that if I eat charbroiled, blackened, grilled food, that my body I can't process that very well. Other people, they can handle it. Their body could detox it really well. But for whatever reason, my body is not with that, and I can't process that well. It would be more detrimental to me than somebody else. You can also learn things about yourself, like how you process caffeine and dairy, and it's lots and lots of information available.
Well, the thing is too, because, if we talked about something, say 50, 70 years ago, things were done more naturally. Things were more organic. Yes. And if you look at today's society, everyone's gluten-free or dairy-free or this free or that free. And it's because it's like, not that, like you said, it's not because it doesn't necessarily mean it was always there. It's because, big companies, have gone in and they've done their mutation of the food to produce more. So knowing, someone who says, I've had dairy, I used to drink it straight out of the cow and now I can't stand it. Well, it's not because all of a sudden your body's like, enough. It could also be because now that the milk is actually produced differently, and you could be doing more harm to your body because, like when I see people who, you invite people over and it's God goodness, sometimes it's just, you feel like, okay, I'm just going to give you a glass of water because, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, I don't eat nuts, it's got to be gluten-free, it's got to be dairy-free. And being Italian, it's like, I can't have that pasta and I can't have that tiramisu and I can't have this and I can't have that. And it's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to make? So, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think also with time, if it hadn't been picked up early, it could be something that was always doing you damage as well for so many years. But you think, I'm okay, nothing's ever happened to me. But you go, yeah, but now it's causing it, because you've got to keep that into consideration. If I was having a glass of milk as a child 50 years ago or, 49 years ago, and I have a glass of milk today, it is not the same milk.
No, not at all. Yeah.
If I have a specific whatever it is, you know what I mean? It's not the same.
Quality is quality is really, really important, and it's a deal breaker. And I think that's why there's even quote unquote scientific studies that say XYZ is bad. Well, was that XYZ an organic source, and was it also during the study used with or without carbohydrates? I mean, there's just so many factors. Quality is important. I mean, my genetics also showed, for me, it's more important to have organic food. And like I said, there could be other people that they can get away with it. But everyone's a little different.
It'll catch up eventually, because the thing is,
it's accumulative.
It gets mutated. Food, the more I know that I'm not going to go down that track, but I know that they're trying to eliminate the overpopulation. But if we keep populating, they're going to keep mutating the food. So, you know what I mean? And then the thing is, and the thing is too, you have to be mindful as well for people like organic foods as well. It's because you're trusting that person who puts that label on it that it is organic. And unless you're fortunate enough to have a nice big farm where you can produce, and God forbid the soil is okay though, but you can produce your own fruit and veggies and things like that, you're entrusting that person to be truthful.
Right.
But again, I think this is really great what you're doing, because it doesn't necessarily mean I love, broccoli, I love cauliflower, I love cabbage, and one of them could be doing me harm, and you sort of go, well, you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I just, you get what
I
so I
totally get it.
really love
Yeah.
the way you do that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the other day, I'm in a Facebook group, and this was from a reliable source. They even had a PubMed scientific study that says there's a grapefruit association with breast cancer. Like, really? Wow.
Oh,
What will it be next?
grapefruit?
Grapefruit. I was like, what the heck?
Oh,
And don't even get me started on what foods are estrogenic, what those may or may not do. That's a whole nother podcast
ball game.
But
But exactly that. See, and so if you're saying grapefruit, we've been told by the health organization, or whatever you want to call it, that grapefruit is great for you. Well, hang on a minute. What if I'm not a woman? It's great for me. Exactly. So the thing is, though, everyone, and I think this is why these studies, what you're doing, is great, because you're not generalizing. You're telling these people, you give me your data and I'll give you back the results.
Yes.
And you're not generalizing it, because like yourself, you're going to come across everyone differently. Everyone,
Absolutely.
So was there anything else you wanted to touch base on, or speak about, or mention, or let us know?
There's one little thing, and you can tell me later if you think it would be of interest to talk about maybe at another time. But one of the other areas that I just want to touch on is, if you're a person of faith, i.e., especially if you call God God and Jesus God and so forth, to not discount and throw away the baby with the bathwater when it comes to alternative medicine and holistic health. People are more and more open, but I do find there are many alternative and holistic things that I did that helped me. And I think if we're scared of it, we think, oh, it's from the devil, it's woo-woo, it's snake oil. You know what? Sadly, there are snake oil salesmen. There are some things that could take you down a dark path, a scary, unsafe spiritual path. But if we completely shut our mind to that and we just label all as hooey, and I'm going to keep with a 10-foot pole, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on a healing, a modality that could save your life. And you're also shortchanging the fact that God created those truths, and we may not understand them. Science and medicine may not know how to articulate them or explain them, and they may not be adopted by every big organization that represents, the medical community. But if we're open and we seek God, we seek our gut, I personally think there's a way to enjoy the benefits of alternative and holistic modalities that can feel safe physically and spiritually and not offend God, and it's not going to get you in hell. I mean, there's people I know who really think that if I do yoga, that I'm going to offend God. I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah, no.
If there's power in a crystal or a meditation or anything, I feel it is a good gift from God. He created it. Now, we sometimes give it a different name. We give the credit elsewhere. And I don't think we should worship rocks, because to me, God created that. He deserves He deserves the credit. He deserves my worship. He deserves, and so we don't want to put our heart in the wrong place and be looking to things without looking to God. So that's just a big area of passion of mine, and I'm wanting to write a future course on that. So if anyone's interested in learning how to navigate that and how to understand that and believe that could be true, that's one of my future goals, is a book or a course or something to help people navigate that, because I think in general, people of faith tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and they're doing a disservice. I think it's anyway.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because I remember when my mum was sick with the cancer, and I said to her, "Mum, I'm going to make you some green drinks." For her, it was like, "What? Stay away from me." And I'm like, "It's a green drink. How is this so bad?" But it was against what she believed. Like, it's going
Right.
against the doctor. It's going against this. It's, how dare you? You're disrespecting it. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. You know, the thing, it's important. Like, my father at the moment is very ill, and I wanted him to do Ayurveda, because, again, Ayurveda anyone can do. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's just changing the way you eat, because certain foods, like you were saying, are no good for you. And this is what this does. And as soon as I mentioned what my dad was diagnosed with, the doctor said, "I know exactly what your dad needs." But the moment I said that, now, this is what he eats. They do not interact with. So if you're doing chemo, if you're doing radiation, it does not affect that, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
But my father was like, "Oh, no, you're going against the doctor." And it's like, no, I'm not. It's just taking this part of your journey and helping you here. You still can go see your doctor 24/7. It's got nothing to do with that. But like you said, a lot of people don't, they either they've got too much faith in God or Great Spirit, and they go, "No, that's taboo," or they think, hang on a minute, like you said, I work with crystals. I've always worked with crystals, but I don't give God, I don't go, "Oh, creation, where have you been? Crystals are so much better than you." I never say that.
Yeah.
I always, you get what I'm saying? I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. I've always worked with crystals. I have crystals all over my desk. Seriously. Look, crystals. I can pick them up all day long, but the thing is, but it wasn't the be all end all. It
Right.
was part
Good.
of it. And like you said, see, like when I went into the jungles of Peru. Now, a lot of people think, "Oh, God, Grace, you just got sucked up into something." Well, you know what? If you watch documentaries about people who actually, there's a documentary about I forgot what you call them. There were people that work with plants, and they actually went around and they actually named all the different plants for something: a headache,
Oh.
anesthetic, for a knee problem, for an ulcer, things like that. It was all these different plants, because this is what this is. It's not holistic. It's not alternative. This is medicine, because it came from Mother Earth.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So I tried that, but people were like, "How dare you go against religion?" It has nothing to do with religion. I still had my faith. I still
Right.
called on Great Spirit every day. "You're here." I called on my mum, but I tried other things. If that didn't work for me, I wouldn't have just, "Well, forget it. Okay, don't worry about it." No, I start and try something else,
Right.
whatever it takes. But when I talk about that journey, it didn't just fix me physically. I always say that to people. It fixed me emotionally,
That's key.
psychologically.
That's good.
And that's what it is for me. I didn't go there and just some guy's, with a rattle over my head. No, 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 no. I drank plant medicine, which is okay. It was made up of 6 different plants. His wife would administer on the outside of my breast. But the detox that came out again, all the mental rubbish, all the suppressed emotion was coming out.
Yeah.
That's what was healing me.
Yes. It's our bodies and our minds are so connected. They really, really are. And I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people don't realize that. Like I said, I think there are people who, if they don't deal with the mindset and the emotions and the spirit, they may not get well. They may
No.
not get well. I hate to say it.
Yeah. And like this, and I adore her. Don't get me wrong. I have so much great respect for her, but my sister-in-law, but even though she's in remission, she keeps telling people she's going to die from this anyway. Well, guess what's going to happen?
Exactly. Yeah. Your body
I'm
hears
like,
you.
what? Why did you just go through 2 years of chemo and then you're telling everyone I'm going to die from this anyway? I'd be like, "What? Get up in the morning, thank you, tick. Get up the next morning, thank you, tick."
Right.
I would never say that I'm dying. Oh, this is going to slowly kill me. And that's what she says, because I remember telling my sister I'd love to have her on my podcast. And she said, please don't have her on your podcast because she's the most negative person out there. And I thought, wow, you are a blessing. Can you not see that? Can you not see it? And like, I think the mindset is extremely important to work together. I always say, heal the mind, heal the soul.
Yes.
Go home.
Yes.
And your body knows what it needs to do.
Yes.
God, creation did not give us this body to get external pharmaceutical stuff in us. It did not do that. I don't think God is, a clairvoyant and knew that in years to come, there's going to be chemo and radiation. So he goes, oh, thank goodness, because the body couldn't handle living without it, or pharmaceutical, and I'm not having to go at pharmaceutical companies, but there's some of them that aren't necessary. Your body can heal itself.
I agree.
And it is so, so true. Yes. Learn how to heal the body. If you do need to take Western medicine, ask questions, but don't just close the door. Go and see someone like Sheena. She'll tell you what's the best nutritions to use. She will tell you how to heal the mind. She will tell you how to heal the body, how to heal the soul. Yes. So while you've got that, while you're going through that journey, you're going this way. So I really appreciated everything. I really loved, and definitely, I think we can go more and more and more on these podcasts, but I absolutely loved it. Like I said, it was great to hear something that I'm passionate about, and you're passionate about as well. I can see it, that it's so extremely, extremely important. So I really thank you so much for being on my podcast, and I would love to have you again. Awesome. And if you do write a book, or if you are in the stage of doing a webinar or a course or anything, let me know.
Thank you.
I'm always here to support you as well, no matter how I can. And so on that, was there anything else you wanted to say?
Just thank you so much. It was a blessing to meet you and to chat and to be heard and to be able to share. So thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. So I appreciate everyone listening in. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And like always, I wish you so much love and light.